And okay. Rabbi said there's so much to learn tonight. It's so important. Okay. Let's start right away. Bite in the Gemora. What page? Page Lamed Ches. Lamed Ches, Daf Lach Omed Aleph, the last two lines. Daf Lamed Ches Omed Aleph, the last two lines. Besilu Loimim, Af Machzir. Shammai said you're never allowed to be Machzir, but still said you're allowed to be Machzir. Alamai has to be Grufa Ktuma. Okay. Amr B'Sheishes, Ledivre Oimer Machzirin. According to the opinion that says Machzirin Afila b'Shabbos. You're allowed to be Machzir even on Shabbos. What do you mean? Obviously, we're talking about Shabbos. What are we talking about? Tuesday? Again, let's read it again. If you say you're allowed to be Machzir Afila b'Shabbos.
I thought that's the whole.
We're talking about Shabbos. What are we talking about? Wednesday? We're talking about Shabbos. Rashi sometimes will like to say a pshat, even if it doesn't go so good in the words, but goes well in the pshat. Rashi says, "B'yom hamacharis." Kiddush is obviously we're talking about Shabbos. When he said afilu b'Shabbos, he meant afilu b'yom de Shabbat. Loitayim apluktayim mishachashech. Don't tell me the machlokes b'Shabbos was Friday night after the meal. But by day, after he finished the Sudas Hayoim, no one's going to think that you came perfect timing. The top line, we just started a minute ago.
That's a big bumper that you can return it the next day.
Oh, that's what I was saying. It's like a Kiddush. That he took it by the bottle of Hatmona. I would think by night, it's a derech is that if a person has hot food by night, he wants to put the pot back because he wants to have hot food for tomorrow. Again, we're not talking about today, which all as a, it's all worked out. Chicken soup is for Friday night, chas for Shalom, not for Shabbos day. Shalom is for Shabbos a day, and not chas for Shalom for Friday night. Like we have our menu. But I'm saying in that time when they had, all in one pot, all one big goulash, all one big tzimmus.
Not only that, we have a guest go 24/7.
Yeah.
They have fire.
Yeah.
You can put add
exactly.
more wood. That's it.
So Friday night, when a person takes off, he wants to put the pot back. So you could say that's when there was machlokes b'sham of Tzilul if you're allowed to be machzir the pot. But by day, I would say maybe.
It's already cold.
Yeah, I would say no. And that's the kamash malon that you're allowed to. Mm-hmm. That's what Rashi holds. But Tosfos right away says Pirish bekuntres. Look in the Tosfos. Top line. Shabbos being mochros. We're talking about Shabbos the next day. Zok Tosfos lefi ze havel leminket afilu b'yom Shabbos. What do you mean machzirin? It should have said machzirin afilu b'yom Shabbos. Not why are you missing the main word? That not only machzirin b'leil Shabbos, but machzirin also b'yom Shabbos.
No, machzirin b'Shabbos. You said b'yom Shabbos.
Should have said b'yom Shabbos. Lefi ze havel leminket afilu b'yom Shabbos. So my the precious the iker pluktay b'choil osi shape. According to my pshat, the Tosfos, everything is osi shape. What's this Tosfos pshat? What's this taka Tosfos pshat? What's this Tosfos pshat? So let's turn back. Tosfos are zera shvere Tosfos. I mean zera shvere pshat, and it's going to be in a gate to understand the Shulchan Aruch. So turn back to the Aflamet Vav Amud Beis, where the Mishnah was, the last Tosfos. We never learned that Tosfos. I left it for now. The Aflamet Vav Amud Beis, the last Tosfos. Beisil Olam Rav Machzirin. Fil Shabbos Machzirin, the minimum of the Gemora. Lashon Noit Lama Masha.
Meaning, like Rashi says, fil b'yom Shabbos.
Well, he'll explain soon what he means.
Oh, okay.
Because I'm in the Gemora. Lashon Noit Lama Masha, the Shabbos. B'choil tzarech l'misna noitli. L'mayda also lahachzer also afilu b'choil l'gibri b'siluk she'en grufa l'b'shama afilu b'grufa k'nama b'gemora l'breva matzir afilu b'shabbos. Mashma dike v'lukta you have a b'choil. Tosa says from the words machzirin afilu b'shabbos mashma that really the machloikis was b'choil. But the shaila is, what do you mean b'choil? Void medaktek Rabbeinu Tam. Mit der Kamera lo yiten at sheyigrif. Vi lo yiten lo yachzer b'Shabbos. Ha'ech yigrif o yikten b'Shabbos. V'have le'lemeimer. B'chlal, it said, the Mishnah says,
No, we
Lo-
work at night and the same.
B'chlal, he's saying anytime. He said, the Mishnah says, lo yiten, which could lo yiten, according to some opinions, means lo yachzer. At sheyigrif o shitne se'eif. Yeah. Everyone's masking that. Look at Chazor, you have to be ad sheyigra v'shitna seif. So what do you mean? Lagabe Chazora, if you're telling me on Shabbos, so you're telling me don't put the chalm back unless you're going to take a shovel and take out the coals.
You can do
Shabbos.
it on Shabbos.
Shabbos.
Right.
It's a klotz kasha. Rashi's going to say. Come on,
Nobody
ask
would
me.
think
Not a
of that.
shaylas.
Right.
Rashi's going to say even a child, a ben Eser Lamishin understands. Ad sheyigrif meant unless he was goyded from Erev Shabbos. Ad sheyigrif is it's a little bit of lashon mesudis. It's not the perfect words. Ad sheyigrif means that he was goyded from Friday.
Then he put a black.
Yeah, but he doesn't like the Rebbeinu Tam. He says no. Verstehen ist like the Rebbeinu Tam again. Goyded like the Rebbeinu Tam. Dama lo yiten ad sheyigrif shiten lo ya vi lo yiten lo yazer. Shabbos, veich yigrif yiktem b'Shabbos. How can Shabbos chas v'shama yidel be goyde v'koytem b'Shabbos? Avalem eile elam ken godaf v'kota. Meloshen ovak. Ela b'choyel nami osel ha'achze. They're also on Friday. You're not allowed to put back a pot.
Why you say b'chol?
B'choyel, even on b'choyel.
No,
Funny.
before Shabbos.
Yeah. What's the problem before Shabbos? Im toima mashir nois and less b'Shabbos.
Erev Shabbos.
Yeah, the solke bashkama pshita the shori la'achze. If a man was making chicken soup
On Friday
and
morning.
Friday morning,
Why shouldn't be?
why shouldn't he be able to put it back on the fire? Verstehen nicht. It doesn't make sense. It doesn't make sense, Octosus. Oimeri, that he says, the Meshashal Yuchal Artichi, and go doing, Osur Lahachze. That from when he can't warm it up anymore.
You're
Shabbos.
talking about before Shabbos already. It's
A
Friday.
few minutes before
Before
Shabbos.
Shabbos. Okay.
Me b'Shabbos avil l'tech otzalach Laman doser di lo v'chem na le Rebbe Seven Mazin na fil b'Shabbos then lakum kem shocham l'tech. I'm glossing over the Islam because we didn't learn the Gemora weiter. So I'm sorry. V'oy doy mari the matzin l'meimar the be'erev Shabbos nami osal ha'achzer afilu l'riteach mishosh im mishosh shim hoya kar lo yochel artiach me boyja.
Oh.
The Oida Rabbeinu Ri is really much better than the first Oida Ri. He's making it, it's the same Ri. He's not arguing, he's just making it clear. Okay, let me explain.
You need enough time, like you
What
said.
does it?
As long as
Say this part, it takes an hour to be Mavash.
So, and you
Chazal
need
made
2
it
hours
clear.
before Shabbos.
If it's an hour and 20 minutes before Shabbos, and
And by-
put. But if it's already now
20
45 minutes before Shabbos, 25 minutes before
There's
Shabbos,
not enough time to do that.
Chazal were goizer. If you're going to let him put the pot without grufa ketuma, he's going to, if he could do it now, he can do it on He's going to think he's allowed to do it on Shabbos too. Right?
But 3/4 is okay because it's not something their son.
No, that's it. Well,
If you're saying
Here- here the-
45
here
minutes,
the-
no. It's even if it's
the
fully
food
cooked.
already full cooked.
It's fully cooked.
Fully cooked.
It's fully cooked. Right? Let's say you look at this pot. It's fully cooked.
You just want to put it back in the oven. It's already cooked. You took it out, now you want to put it back.
ביום חול. בערב
An hour
שבת.
before Shabbos.
Say this chicken soup takes an hour to cook.
Right.
So basically, Tosfos holds that we let's say we're passing like Hananya, like Tosfos Hananya. You don't need a blech, right? As long as it's 50% cooked, you don't need a blech.
Right.
But if it's an hour before Shabbos, make believe it's already Shabbos, and you need to have a blech. We're going to learn it soon in Shulchan Aruch. It's very funny shit. I mean, Shulchan Aruch says that really you should try to be choshesh for Tosfos. Tosfos Shita goes very well in the words of the Gemora, because Tosfos has a problem. Because the Gemara says, machzirin afilu b'Shabbos. What do you mean machzirin afilu b'Shabbos? Mashma the machloikes b'Shama was b'choil. And that just like b'choil, Basil said it's mutter afilu b'Shabbos. B'Shama said it's not going to help that you have a blech. I'm sorry. Basil says it helps that you have a blech. So the way Tosfos sees it, it's like Gzeira l'Gzeira. Although usually Chum don't make Gzeira l'Gzeira, but sometimes they call it. They just they declare it as Kula Chod Gzeira, and they call it a day.
In Shabbat,
There's a very trick, because they're machmer more.
Right.
Chazal have a very funny trick. They made a rule: ain't goes from Gzeira l'Gzeira. Sometimes they make Gzeira l'Gzeira. Nah, Kula Chod Gzeira. So when do we say Kula Chod Gzeira, and when do we say it's Gzeira l'Gzeira? Come and decide.
It's though.
It's very hard to know.
They know when people make a mistake.
Exactly. They know when the Gzeira is not so far. Shire B'daito, sometimes it was the Chumr of Shabbos, or sometimes it was the likelihood of a person to stumble. It's just funny. They made a rule. We made a Gzeira, we never make a Gzeira. But a lot of times in the Shas we find they make a Gzeira. This is different. This is Kula Chod Gzeira. So why do you make a rule ain't goes from Gzeira? Because every Monday and Thursday you do make an Gzeira. Okay, so, because every rule has to have an exception for the rule. Okay. So bottom line is, Toys was saying like this, that we pass like Hananya. We are saying is Shkenazim. Svardim pass like Rabbanon. The Ashkenazim passing like the Toys and Rashi, passing like Hananya. The 50% cooked, you don't need Velach. You don't need to have beautiful food. But if this food takes an hour to cook, an hour before Shabbos, we treat it already like Shabbos. That you do need a blech. That Basil says you need a blech.
Ashkenazi in a case of a male Semechan Sfadi.
Fakir, the Sfardi should be something from Ashkenazi. The Sfardim are mach. Sfardim say
they have to be
even if it's mitzamak v'yofalot, you're not allowed to have it on the fire unless there's a blech, unless it's grufa ktuma. Only the Ashkenazim, because they follow Rashi v'Toisvus. The Sfardim go, look, the Rambam is machmer, and the Rif is machmer, and the Rosh is machmer, most of the Shonim are machmer, the Goyim are machmer, and that's what Shulchan is machmer. So fakir, the Ashkenazim are mekel. So, but for it. So we're saying that an hour before Shabbos already, even though we say we don't need a blech if it's 50% cooked, an hour before Shabbos you already need to have a blech. That's the gist of what Tosfos holds.
But the food has to be cooked.
Yeah, we're talking about it's cooked. Yeah, we don't care. Yeah, cooked, not cooked. It's grufa ktuma.
Some maybe you say it's better to put it before Shabbos, not cook it all.
Right, because Kedera Chayaisa, which Mitzvah will get to that Gemora. Gam, like I said, Poskim say today does not shach Kedera Chayaisa. In those days, a person put right before Shkia, he put raw meat in the pot.
Tomorrow
He
afternoon,
knows it's not going to be ready till tomorrow.
But the meat was served Shabbat. So
That's not a problem.
Tonight he's not going to go and cook and do the kechalim.
Tonight he's not going to be machata b'gecholim. But the Poskim say really not to rely on it b'zman hazeh, because
What's
we have
Bisman Hazeh?
because b'zman hazeh, the food cooks much quicker.
Right, in half an hour you could.
Right. The emes is that there's such a funny tzadach. We say our tanurim are weak. All our tanurim is like Kirah. Our tanurim are very weak. Okay. If you tell me that, I'm going to accept it. Yeah. Then you turn around and you tell me, Kedera Chayaisen is not a shas. If you put in a raw piece of meat, you knew that. Forget about it. Tonight, you ain't gonna eat this food. Till tomorrow, you ain't gonna eat this food. Yeah. So that was a strong oven or a weak oven. By today, me and you, if you put in a piece of chicken in the chicken soup, even if it's a minute before Shkia, by the time the meal is holding
5 minutes will be cooked.
Yeah. No. So what are you telling me? Our ovens are super strong or super weak? You're talking from two sides of your mouth. Those to me, tanurim shalom, kikita dummy. Our tanurim are very schwach. Very schwach. Our tanurim.
Depends like a what, I guess.
I don't know. I can't get my head around it. I have a few tirutzim in my mind. One of the tirutzim really is one of the tirutzim in my mind is also like this. Could be bisman hashas. They didn't eat so late like us. Didn't have electricity. They had a candle, so
Right,
so
finish very early.
they didn't eat. We like say Lubavitch in the winter. The minhag Lubavitch is
After 7.
so in Lamazag Yeshiva, right? In terms of Lubavitch.
Yeah, I remember Lich mention was 4
Little
o'clock.
mention.
But till 7 o'clock we have a Seder.
Right, you have Seder Chassidus.
Yeah, really? Push it.
Right. So the Suda is 4 hours after
After
the sun
candles.
sets, right? 4 hours later, yeah. Even regular. First of all, we have all kinds of fakis. So by us, Bein Hashmoshes is like became like they didn't have all these fakis. Zman Hagoyin and Befrat. Check. They knew what Bein Hashmoshes is, and so we end up eating very late at night. It could be by them, they would eat, 20 minutes after Shkiyam Zisha, they were already making Savri Maronim, Yom HaShishi. They're already making Kiddush. So if a person threw in a raw piece of meat, so it wasn't shayach. You know already tonight. And also now, even if in our good ovens, if you're going to throw a piece of chicken in water and put it on, 20 minutes later, it's disgusting. You can't eat. It's not chicken soup. It has to cook at least an hour and a half.
Even chicken soup is not going to be good.
Right, that's what I'm saying. So it could be that subshat. I don't know. I'm just pointing out, and this halach is like very funny. Tzaddik, we say, our ovens are very shvach, very shvach. Then we turn around, Mishnah Berurah says, "Kedei dechayaisa." That was only Bizman Hashas. Bizman Hazeh, we're very good ovens. So make up your mind. We have good ovens or bad ovens. Okay. So let's read a few more lines in the Gemora. Rebbeishia also holds this way. Af machzin afilu b'Shabbos, which again, according to Rashi, means not only Friday night you're allowed to do chazar, but also Shabbos day. According to us, it means not only an hour before Shabbos you're allowed to do chazar, also on Shabbos you're allowed to do chazar. We were serving him. Like kumkum or kumkus. I'm sorry. Today's Hebrew, a chinik is called a kumkum.
Kumkumus.
It's kumkumus. The Gemora says kumkumus.
Yeah.
I know. I'm saying
Hebrew it's kumkum.
Hebrew it's kumkum, but in the
Yeah.
Gemora it's kumkumus. Huh?
In Hebrew, there's a very famous line. A chupchik shel hakumkum.
Was it the chupchik?
The thing when the water is coming out. It's a chupchik.
That's the chupchik. Oh, one second.
And
They like to use a few words of Yiddish.
it's not kumkum. Milara. Not kumkum. And the question is the other, the end.
Okay. Thank you. So ve'elenu like kumkumus shelach hamit meduta tachtenu leduta delgena. We brought him a kumkumus from downstairs to upstairs. And we poured him a kois of hot water. And we brought it back to the fireplace. It didn't say anything. So we see even on Shabbos, you're
Maybe
like,
he did not know. He was in second.
Yeah, he was on the second floor. How did he know?
but he would have asked. He would have been choishish. They tell me them. They're walking out of the room. He would say, "Well, where are you going? What are you doing?" Yeah, that's the way he understood it.
It's not to understand that you're taking a rochel because you don't say nothing.
Right,
That's a proof. It's
right.
like you say a rabbi in a restaurant. Oh, it's kosher.
Rabbi supervision. Sagt die Gemara. Amar Reb Zidike, Amar Reb Abba, Amar Reb Tadoi. Lo Shono, when did we say this whole thing of Chazar El Kshelem Yoda? If it's still in his hand, Al Nichel Al Gabi Karka. Also, once he put it Al Gabi Karka, it's also why. Because it looks like it's a new thing that he's putting it on the fire, and it's needed Kimavashal Shabbos. It's not to do with a lot of times here in the sugya. There's different zaydas. There's a lot of them is shemi yachata begecholim, and a lot of them is zayda shenida kemevashal b'shabbos. If he puts the pot on the ground, it's also to put it back because it's needed like it's a new thing. It doesn't look like chazorah. It looks like you're putting it anew. And even though he's not really cooking it because it's piping out, it's needed to come with Shabbos and Zayda Maris Ein. Amr Rabbi Reb Tadoi David look at Meir David. Rabbi said that Reb Tadoi is his own opinion. He doesn't talk for everybody. Elo Cham Chiyam Reb Yochanan I feel nicha gabe karka muter. Reb Yochanan said even if you put all gabe karka, you let it put it back. Pligi bar Reb Ami Reb Shmuel. Reb Ami Reb Shmuel had a machlokes here. Pligi bar Reb Pligi bar Reb Dimi Reb Shmuel bar Reb Yehuda. Tamay B'Shmei Reb Elazar. Both argue what the Elazar said. Chadomar oidem biyodem muter al gabe karka also. But chadomar inich al gabe karka nami muter. So some said. So basically, we have here a few shittas. Some said, listen, that I don't care. Even if you put al gabe karka, you're allowed to put it back. And some said no. Once you put al gabe karka and you put it back, it's exeris chachomim. You're not allowed to do it because it's exeris chachomim because it's nidikam vashal Shabbos. Amr Chizke.
That's the reason that when we take something, we still holding it.
Yes. Amr Chizke Moshe Abaye. It's funny here in this sugi at the end of the Gemara. This Arden Amekel, the Ashkenazim are machmer. Everything is the other way around. Amr Chizke Moshe Abaye. Odamar Oidem Yodem Muter. This that you said Oidem Yodem is Muter. Lo Yomron. Elo Shedaite Lahavzir. This that we said Oidem Biyodoi. It's Muter. That's not the end of it. It has to be plus daite lahachzer. Like daite lahachzer also. Told about karka afapisha daite lahachzer also. But if it was al gabi karka, even if it was daite lahachzer, ikinamari amachiskim shmei dabai. Or al gabi karka also. Or this is what you said al gabi karka. I'm not al shem daite lahachzer. Aval daite lahachzer muter. If it was daite lahachzer, machlal ve'ed ve'yodai. Smash from me if it was Oidem B'Yoda, Avabish ain't daite lahachzer is muter. So we have opposite pshot.
How do you get the
Once
yodo?
Oidem B'Yoda means your hand is still on the pot.
Because it's on the conker.
Right. So one shita says that lechumre. That if it's al gabi karka, forget about it. So Oidem B'Yoda, still you need to have the das to return it. The other way around. Forget it.
I thought once of the kaka, that's it.
We pass on lechumre. That's why.
Uh-huh.
Because Ashkenazim pass on lechumre. Mishum chumre de Shabbos, we pass on lechumre. Boy, Rabbi Yirmiyah told him b'maklamal. If he didn't put it on the ground, and he didn't leave it in his hand, it was toilet b'makal. Inichal gabimita mal. Boy Rabashi, if he pina mimechem lamechem mal. Take. What does this take?
Don't need it.
Okay. So there is very little machlokes rishonim here. The Rambam holds very lekuladik, and the Shulchan Aruch nem tanech because mashma belief also. The nakuda is that the way they understood the Rambam is that the Rambam learned that from Amar Chizkim Shmei Abaye is Amirom Achronim, and we see that Amirom Rishonim were not concerned about daitoi, not daitoi. And Elamai, they were just, the question was, if you put al gabi karka, you didn't put al gabi karka. And that's what the Rambam says. If you put al gabi karka, you can't put it back. If you didn't put al gabi karka, you're allowed to put it back. So it comes out very lekuladik, according to Sfardim. Sfardim hold only if you put it al gabi karka. Mamish, you put al gabi karka.
No, it's only holding in the hand.
The Ashkenazim hold, they're basically different.
Kaka, but you holding in your hand is good.
It has to be, he holds it in the hand and daite.
Lachzer.
And he didn't put it. The bottom line is that the side of Sfardim, the side of Ashkenazim, everyone holds that the Chumrah the Shabbos you have to be machmer. Just that the Rambam hold that from Omar Abaye, Omar Chizki Moshe Abaye, forget about it.
That's not
Forget we see the Yochanan, All the Amoraim Rishonim, they were not worried about anything. They were only worried about one thing. And even though it's a machloikis, but we're machmer, so we say v'nich gabe karka. But if lo nich gabe karka, no problem. Even if you put it on the counter, yeah. Even if you put it in the yeah, as long as you didn't put it on gabe karka. But many the other Rishonim, Ashkenazi, the hell, no. Look, read the Gemara till the end. The Gemara says it has to be even though it's a shaila, but it's chomer of the Shabbos. You should be machmer. So it shouldn't be, you're not allowed to be pina to another pot. It has to be daita lahachzir, and it has to be oidem b'yodai. That's it. So we have three chumras, which the Sfardim don't have. In order to be machzir, it has to be the same pot, oidem b'yodai, and daita lahachzir. But the Sfardim is just the opposite. Because they discount all the rest of the Gemara, they just go to the Amoraim Rishonim, and they say, okay, so there's a machloikis. If it's if a nichel gabikarka is a problem, is mavatal the shiyah, machmer. But that's only if he nichel gabikarka. Then yode alayim, put it on the karka. But if you put it on the counter, no problem, no problem. So Sfardim hold more lakula, and the Ashkenazim hold lachumra. We have a minion?
Ellie's coming with your story. Ellie's on the way.
Okay, so let's learn a little Shulchan Aruch. The reason I want to do Shulchan Aruch is because tomorrow night is not a shir. Tomorrow night we're dancing. Yes. So, but I don't want to be. I want to get moving over here in the Shulchan Aruch.
The person was there last night and invited everybody to come with the boss.
Okay, very good.
Yeah, we only have like 10 people said to be on the bus.
Okay. Once we get to 25, let me know. We'll get a second bus.
8 and 2 nuts.
Okay.
So I referee after the 2 nuts you make just one.
Okay.
But there's different thing.
Regiment. No, I'm sorry.
Seif Chof. Seif Chof. Seif Chof.
Page Kuf Ches.
It's page Kuf Chof, Seif Chof.
תביא לי אחד לבחור בבקשה. לא, מי ש...
פתחתי לך.
כן, אתה לא בחור.
Wow. Big minion. We'll learn all along.
We'll learn one halach and then we'll go.
2 more.
Two more coming?
Yeah. We'll learn one along before my stuff.
Okay, we were waiting, we were stalling for the time, so in the meantime we started learning. The reason we're learning the Shulchan Aruch, even though usually we learn Wednesday, because we want to do today what we're going to do tomorrow. So everyone should be able to dance tomorrow with a free
We
mind.
don't want us to dance with the books, right?
Okay, halach echad.
What's the...
We're talking about Chazorah to return the pot on the blech on Shabbos. You're allowed to, if you have a tanur, you're allowed to put it outside the tanur. Page Kuf Chof. You're allowed to put it outside the tanur.
Look at the lashon. Lismoch etzlo, etzlo.
Right.
It's a deal.
Right. He wants to explain what semech means. Kenetzel tanur shalonu. The same thing by our tanurim, which our tanurim has the din of Kirah. Hafim gufa tafshel negir v'doif natanur menatzad. Even though the actual tafshel touches the doif natanur, we're makel. Filu hutzak begefas veitzim ve'negore beklotum. It doesn't matter. We're not scared this person is gonna be machata begecholim. It's gonna bring a shovel and turn around the gecholim. Commotion is more lamala. I feel like about a silik tafshel zematana. Avoid yoim v'nichal gabekarka v'lo yadayte lachzir l'toichay. All the chesroinus took the tafshel off, and it was avoid yoim, and he put all gabekarka and lo yadayte lachzir.
Nevertheless, you're allowed.
V'lo afilu samche afilu tafshel yosha when it's tanen lagamri. even though it's something that was cooked, but now it's cold. It's out of the refrigerator. But there's no issue of bishul here. To go and shu yavish because it's dry. And there's a muta lismach. You're allowed to be saimach. When you put it outside the tanur, it doesn't look like you're mevashel. Shein derech levashel chutz la tanur vakira. Because no one cooks that way. When you want to cook, you put it inside the tanur. You put it on top of the tanur. But no one cooks it that way. So it's not needed to mevashel. Obviously, if chas v'sholom, it's mevashel. If there's a little bit of liquid over here and it became tzaina, and now there's bishul acher bishul, obviously it's isa deraisa. We're talking about when there's no issue.
It's only warm. It's only warm.
Or it's dry, and there's no issue of bishul. Elamai, there would be an issue here because it's needed k'mevashel b'Shabbos. Like I said before, a lot of the gzeiris is shema yechata b'gechol, but many of the gzeiris is needed k'mevashel b'Shabbos. So we don't say it's needed k'mevashel b'Shabbos, and that's the maskon in the Gemora at Lakula that lismach is mutter. Yesh oisrim. There are those that say it's also lismach etzel kira. You're not allowed to put it there if it's not God of a cotton. Even if he had died still not going to help. Because there's a gzeira shem yechata b'gechom she'af shlan yen lismach shemi b'oid yoim lo yichosh shul chitui. They were not choshesh for chitui. That's if you put it there mi b'oid yoim. If you want to be Samach on Shabbos, forget about it. So really comes down to how you learn the Gemora. The Rif, the Rambam, the Rosh, the Ramban, the Rabbeinu Yoina, they all learned that the halacha is like the Chachamim of Chananya. That you're not allowed to put anything on the fire unless you have a blech. So when the Gemara said you're allowed to be soimach, it's talking about Shehiyah, it's talking about Friday. You're allowed on Shabbos itself, forget about it. You're not allowed to be soimach. The other opinion is the opinion of Rashi Toisus. The way that the Rosh explains it is they hold the halach is like Chananya. So as long as it's 50% cooked, you don't need a blech. You don't need a blech. So if you don't need a blech, so what's the chiddush you're allowed to be soimach? You don't need a blech to begin with. Oh, even on Shabbos. Okay. So a minig,
You don't need a blech.
to be soimach, to be soimach, to be soimach, to be soimach.
Meaning you take it and you put it next to the
Next to it. So because that's the way the Rosh says, it's l'shitose. Again, if you hold, it's l'shitose. If you hold like the Lechumra, you hold like the Rambam, the Rosh, and the Rif, and you hold that you're not allowed to be, this is what the Svardim Mamachmer. You hold that you must have a blech. So you could say, oh, you're allowed to be Saimach. Saimach means on Friday you can be Saimach. But if you hold that as long as it's 50% cooked, so you're allowed to, so you don't need a blech, you don't need a blech. So obviously you're allowed to be soimach. No, the answer is you're allowed to be soimach even on Shabbos. That's the way. Okay.
And we say we're in Shabbos, probably talking Shabbos day, not Shabbos night.
The minig is for the Shoina. The minig is.
If you're Mate and Shabbos day, people will
It doesn't matter. It'll get me this Shabbos night and day Zavazah.
Okay.
The minig is for the Shoina. The minig is to be makel. Whenever there isn't such a need, it's good to be choishish, not to be soimach on Shabbos unless there is a blech. I mean, it's not so negeya. But the truth is, there's a lot of since these two discussions are connected, so there's a whole shakla over here. I understand. Earlier, the Alter Rebbe said that we're making like Chananya. So why all of a sudden over here the Alter Rebbe is saying that Toiv Locher Shel Devreim to be Machmer? So Meret and Slapel Pulim, I don't understand. How can you make pilpulim? That's why it's important to learn the Gemora and the Rashi and the Tosfos. When you learn everything clearly in the Gemara, Rashi, Tosfos, there's no pilpulim. These two things are not really connected. Because if you learn that little Tosfos, the Tosfos said that Maulismach, Tosfos said that the pshat of the shail in the Gemara is that if it was not 50% cooked, it was not cooked, and you want to be soymech, you want to be, it's not 50% cooked. And that's, he says, if you hold like Chom Chananya, even if it was fully cooked, and if you hold like me, like Chananya, it was talking about when it wasn't, everything is talking about Erev Shabbos. So therefore, it's not a Lishitosa. The Rosh holds it as a Lishitosa, but Tosis himself holds it's not a Lishitosa. So you could be maker like Chananya, but you could hold that the Pshat in the Gemara here, when the Gemara says you're allowed to be Soimech, is because the food was not even 50% cooked. And the Kula is you're allowed to be Soimech on Erev Shabbos, because otherwise you need to have a blech. But on Shabbos itself, you're not allowed to. And that's why the Alter Rebbe says, Lagabi this, you should be machmer, because even in Toisvus, which is make like Chananya, but Lagabi this, okay, so let's summarize about some of the things that there are. Again, the Sfardim are machmer. The Sfardim, but Ashkenazim are mekel. As long as it's, so the Emes says, as long as it's fully cooked or 50% cooked, you really don't need to have a blech. So the truth is, so for Ashkenazim, it's not that as if the food that you have by the time Shkia is the food is 50% cooked, so then there's no problem with a hot plate. If the food is 50% cooked, if you have a chicken or rotisserie, if it's 50% cooked, if you have hot water in an urn that's plugged in, it's 50% cooked. If you have an oven and the food is 50% cooked, so then even though there's no grufa ketuma, there's no blech, it's not a problem. But for Sfardim, it's a problem. But also Ashkenazim, it's a problem if it was totally raw, if it's not yet 50% cooked. So then you have to figure out, it should be a blech. So if it's on the fire top, it's not hard, you buy a blech for $19.99. But if it's an oven, or it's a hot plate, or it's a crock pot, or it's a rotisserie chicken, or it is a hot water urn that's plugged in, so you have a problem. You have to figure out what's the blech, what's considered a blech. So if you think that the Shabbos mode is a blech, then you're good to go. And if you don't think Shabbos mode is a blech, then you have a problem. You have a problem.
We only going shell is about we said water of Shabbos, hot water of Shabbos.
Yeah.
So
If it's cooked, if it boiled already, if it's boiled
so
from before Shabbos, so then you don't need a blech.
I forgot about a blech for a minute. Just talking about making the water hot. You can put cold water on the you put cold water before Shabbos, right before Shabbos.
That's what we're talking about.
So
if when Shabbos the sun sets, the water is boiling already, then you don't need a blech. But if the water is cold, so then you would need to have grufa ketuma. So if there's no dials, it's just a plug-in. So I would say that itself is grufa ketuma. It's not shy. It's not shy to make the fire bigger.
Right.
But if you do have a dial, they have a problem because there's shem yechata. So you could say, it's meant. You could take a piece of Scotch tape and put it on the thing, and that's called. And you could say that's called grufa ketuma. Maybe yeah, maybe no. Stuck if the water is boiled before Shabbos comes in is the best thing. Okay, let's leave it at this.
Let the skirts cover the dials, impossible.
Yeah, some points.
The horse?
Yeah.
Oh, the Lord asked me